What's up, family? Welcome to another episode, another edition of All Faith, No Fear. I am your host, Rodney Footman. And as you always know, fear keeps you in bondage, but faith pushes you to your destiny. Today, I have the pleasure of having Dr. Shadeh Adu. I got your name right, not like other people. We had a conversation before this. She was like, people get her name wrong. So I wanted to make sure that I got it right. But welcome to the podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Dr. Shadeh Adu, I'm gonna say that the whole show because I just like the way that name is. She has a consulting company, a branding company, and she is a full-on entrepreneur, if I'm not mistaken, right? Full-on entrepreneur. So, what I would like to ask you is, how did you get into entrepreneurship?
So, 9 years ago, I've been in business full time for 9 years. I actually started my business in the Republic of Kazakhstan. I was living overseas in Asia, living my best life. I was traveling, I was a teacher, and I had this leap. God told me to take this leap of faith to start a business. Now, I could just say I listened and I was obedient immediately. I was not. I wanted to run away.
We
I was like,
never.
ain't no way. I'm happy being a teacher. I'm living good. And I just decided to take this leap of faith after 3 years of being overseas to resign from my international teaching position to
Mm.
start a business. And I just wanted to inspire and help people live their best lives. But I soon realized that I need to figure out how to make money if I wanted to stay in business. So I had to invest in mentorship and training and coaching to learn how to become how to run a business. I knew how to be an educator, but I needed to know how to become a business leader. And it's been 9 years later. And I will tell you, it's definitely been an interesting ride.
Wow, that is a pretty amazing story, especially the part where you say God told you and you went like, people don't understand when you walking with God, like he would tell you to do some things. You'd be like, whoa, wait a minute, time out, pause. Do you not see what I have right now? Like, what are you telling me? Because again, like you said, you was overseas, international. I'm pretty sure that salary was good, the pay was good. So, like that initial thought, what was that initial thought like?
The initial thought was no, I'm not doing this. So I took a leap of faith to live 5,000 miles away from everyone I knew and loved to go to Kazakhstan. I thought that that was the leap of faith because
Wow.
I always envisioned me being an educator in my small town of Irvington, New Jersey. I was going to be a social studies teacher at my middle school. That was my goal. And then I went to school in Baltimore, and then I went to school in Philadelphia, and I got my teacher certification in Philadelphia. And there was a hiring freeze the year I was going to become a teacher. So there were
Mm,
no jobs, and I was teaching social studies. I wasn't an essential subject like math and science, so they or even reading, and they didn't need me. So this opportunity to go to Kazakhstan was the leap of faith that I thought, like, okay, God, you told me I need to leave and go somewhere else. I thought that was enough. But
mm.
that reality became comfortable. It was once uncomfortable. I was sometimes the first and sometimes the last Black person people had ever seen. I was trying to figure out what to do with my hair. How were people going to receive me being this chocolate girl in Asia? And I was just, and it ended in Stan. And I was in that part of the world during tumultuous times. So that was the leap of faith. I'm like, God, I did that. Now you're telling me to do this other thing. So of course I didn't want to listen and I wanted to reject it. So I was going to move to Kenya. I applied for a job in Kenya. I was going to move to another country, and I was just like, I'm not doing this. And I just kept
Mm.
hitting these roadblocks, and I realized, and I felt like it was like a Jonah moment. I was going into the well, and God is like, if you don't do what I tell you to do, your life is not going to be the way you want it to be. So I had to just take a leap of faith and understand that there was something bigger for me, and I just needed to be obedient. And the faster I got with the program, the better it was going to be for me. But if anybody tells you, if they're a believer and they have a relationship with God, like you talk to God, you're going to have an attitude sometimes. And you're going to be like, listen, I'm renegotiating this. And I have one of my first anthologies was called Renegotiating Greatness, because I battled with whether or not this is something I really want to do. Why can't I be regular? Why can't I just have a regular job? Like, why do I got to go overseas for a job? Why do I got to be an entrepreneur? I could have been happy and fine just being a teacher. So I always went through this battle of saying, like, God, this is what you want me to do. You sure about that? Because I can just be regular.
Mm.
But as we realized, that was not the calling on my life. So at this point, I'm just trying to be obedient faster, and accept the calling and be okay with it. It's okay to be bold. It's okay to be big. It's okay to live life out loud, and it's okay to inspire others. But it's been a journey to accept that.
Yeah, I can attest to that. As I say many times on this podcast, like this podcast is something that I really did not want to do at all. Like it took me 3 years just to get to this point. Like I would start, do like 2, 3 episodes, stop, start, do 2, 3 episodes and stop because I didn't feel like my voice was valuable enough. That's how much fear had me held up, even though I knew God was telling me, but it was the fear of people, of what people was going to say, what people was going to do, if I was going to get any comments, if I was even going to be able to get any guests or anything like that. So like I could definitely attest to that. And just for you to even go overseas to teach, like that's a lot. I would have thought that would have been it too. And I'm like, I'd have been like, all right, guy, you tripping. Nah, I don't know what you talking about. But it's just a test to like how you said, like you get comfortable in different positions, and then once you get comfortable, God comes and interrupt your life and like, this where you need to go. And like you said before, like seeing the bigger picture. A lot of times we don't see the bigger picture when it comes to what God wants us to do. We see where we at right now, but we don't see where He's taking us to. So that's a lot.
Absolutely.
That is a lot. So you have your own program and everything that you do. If you could just tell the people with your entrepreneurship all the different things that you tackle.
So at this point in life, I help women entrepreneurs and some awesome men too, because I know they may be listening, build their personal brands and create digital courses and coaching programs. My foundational belief is you should teach what you know and get paid well for it. We all have an expertise, we have a skill set. There's something special about us. And in this season in society, it's so important for us to package it, okay? It's not enough to just have the goods, you have to package it in a way that attracts people and in a way that makes people want to buy it. So that's what we help people do. We Because all of our gifts sometimes are not always monetizable, but that right gift can be your absolute cash cow. And in a
Mhm.
season like this, we want to make sure we're focusing on the activities as business owners that generate income for us.
Understandable. So, there's a lot of things when it comes to entrepreneurships, a lot of different avenues that you could have took. What made you want to take this avenue to help people build their brand?
So I did not know initially. And if you're starting out in your business, you might not know. I just knew I had a gift and a calling, and I wanted to help people. And I realized that that oil money check I used to get from Kazakhstan was no longer coming in, and I had to figure out how to make money. And I got certified as a life coach, and I
Mm.
infused life coaching into brand strategy and consulting. And all the people that came to me initially, they said the same thing. They said, "How did you build this brand?" At the time, I built my own website. I was creating my own graphics in Canva. I was the creative visionary for what I was putting out there in the marketplace. And people were identifying skills in me that I didn't see in myself. And they kept saying, "How did you build this brand? How did you build this brand? How did you build this brand?" And then I said, there must be something to it. I must know how to build brands because that's what they keep saying I know how to do. And I was working with some of my initial mentors were brand strategists and speakers. And then as I did like some self-reflection into my own life, I realized that at the age of like 14, 15, 16, I used to, my side hustle was working presidential, gubernatorial, and municipal elections. So while everybody else was trying to get like a job at McDonald's and Rainbow, that wasn't my thing. I wanted to work for the government. So I had a government job as a teenager.
Oh, wow.
And I would canvas, I would register people to vote even before I was eligible to vote. I would work with politicians locally. I've met presidents. I would work with governors of the state of New Jersey, and I would watch them strategize elections and campaigns. And who knew that as a kid watching all of this stuff, you could leverage it into a business. And one of my mentors who passed away last year, she said, "Of course you were doing this as a kid." I just
Wow.
didn't realize that the skills that my life was preparing me for business, I was already doing it. At the time, it wasn't really called branding, it was called reputation. We had to manage the reputation of politicians. So when I'm going knocking on people's doors to register them to vote or inviting them to go to the polls, they're giving me their impression of the politician. One of them was a former governor of the state of New Jersey, and they said, "You're a crook." And I told them as a kid, I was like, "They think you're a crook." So we got to change their image of what they think about you. And I told them flat out, I have no shame in my game at that time in life. And just being around politicians and watching how they market elections, like we were knocking on doors, we were, in person. This is before the internet, this is before Facebook.
Mm,
And I learned so much because I spent my formative years registering people to vote, knocking on doors, being in student government, and learning directly from people who sometimes we won a lot of the campaigns and sometimes we lost. I learned so much doing that. And I had that. I was managing campaigns in college, running elections. I was heavily involved in student government. I just didn't realize that those skills were transferable and they helped me build people's brands. And even today, I could probably still manage elections. I don't do that. That might happen. I'll put that out there, let God use me the way I need to be used.
yeah, if
Yeah,
y'all looking for a campaign manager, please,
people
please.
have asked me, right? And I'm like, listen, if you do campaigns in this time of life, that's your full-time job. That's your full-time life.
Yeah.
Um, in that moment of period of time, you got to really be willing to dedicate it. And I don't think I have the time to dedicate to a campaign. But if the price is right, listen, I can reconsider. The price, if the check is right, I might reconsider.
I
But
know that's
that's where
and
I learned how to help people build their brands from politicians.
wow. So, you said something about like knocking on doors and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Now we know the culture has changed dramatically. You can't go knock on nobody's door, not now in this day and time. So how like did you transfer that into like your strategy and all that type of stuff? Like you said, you was able to knock on doors. You're not able to knock on doors now. So
I was
like,
bold as a kid. I'm not that bold anymore.
uh,
We were in the hood. I don't know what we were thinking, but we needed that $10 an hour. And, that's how I paid for prom and my little necessities. My family has a lot of children and I had to figure it out. So now I will say we knock on digital doors. It is
mm,
imperative that we make noise. If you have a gift, you have a calling, you have a purpose, you have a passion for people, you owe it to you and to them to share your message with the world. So, knocking on doors looks like marketing, being interviewed on podcasts, sharing your experiences, sending out those emails and text messages. It looks like having a multimodal, I call it a multimodal marketing approach.
mm,
It's not just enough to send out one email or one message or post one time on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever you want to be. X, now we got X and threads. It's not enough.
it's
You
too
have
much.
to be consistent if you want to break through the sound barrier of everything else that's happening, the distractions that your target market naturally has, because life is lifing for them as well. You have to make noise and you have to be okay with that. So I
Mm,
needed to find ways to break through the noise that everyone else was hearing and make them pay attention to me. So it could be through colors. Like me, I have my pink background. Usually I have a pink lip. I've been wearing my red lip. You got to do things that make you stand out in the marketplace. This is a performance. We're characters in people's stories, and we have to stand out. So right now, we talked a little bit briefly about I attended the podcasting summit, and one of the things that I got from it was you got to be consistent.
mhm.
Nobody's cutting you no slack. Every day there's somebody younger who got more energy than you, that got more drive than you, that's willing to take your spot. And you need to realize
Very
that if
true.
you want to be relevant In a marketplace like this, if this is your business model, if this is your marketing model, you got to go hard, because if you don't, you will be kicked to the curb. Your audience will find someone else to resonate with. So if this is the lifestyle that we desire, we have to do the work in accordance to the lifestyle that we desire.
That's very true. And like you said, you got to stand out. And consistency, that I believe that is the biggest thing that kills people. Is consistency and comparison. Like you might be consistent, but you compare yourself to someone else that's been doing this for a long time, and you trying to get the numbers that they're trying to get. You can't do that. You got to start where you at. And like consistency is always a big thing for me. Like I even said earlier, like when we was talking, I told you like I gotta do like 6 or 7 other shows today, but that's my consistency because, like you said, you got to stay on top of this. Is I just did a research last week. It's like 3,000 other podcasts that just started last week. So
Mm,
you got to think about like all these podcasts that you got to compete with and breaking through that noise of, the fluff and, trying to get your audience and your community that you want to get to your podcast. Cause again, it is 8 billion people on this earth. So you got to think about with 3,000 podcasts starting a week, 8 billion people, you got a lot of work to do.
absolutely. And the thing is, getting started. I know they've been pushing me to get my podcast out there. Those 3,000, if you need a speaker, I'm happy to talk to some of you guys, if it makes us, if it's a good fit. This is what I'll say, like, you gotta, so the consistency trumps the talent sometimes.
Mm,
I've had friends who are extremely talented. I know some people right now. They have more followers than me, 100,000 plus followers on Instagram. Some of them are extremely talented. How they put content together, I just watch them in awe. And some of them are musically talented. But one thing they might not be is consistent. But
mm,
one thing Shadeh Adu is consistent. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do it imperfectly, and I'm gonna keep on going. So as some of them have gotten discouraged, they've pulled back. They are not doing as much as they used to do. Even though I feel like they're more talented than me, they don't show up as much as me.
mm,
And because of that, they don't make as much. So let me tell you something. You don't got to be the talentedest, the bestest, the youngest, the prettiest, the whatever is you think you need to be successful in the marketplace. The marketplace has different requirements than what we actually think in our heads. But consistency is one of them. You keep showing up, you are just one opportunity, one podcast interview away from going viral and for the game changing for you. But you got to be willing to keep on going. And that's really the key. Most people are not willing to keep on going. They give up too quickly.
very true. That especially in this generation, I call it like the microwave generation. They want it very quick, but they don't want to take the time to really put in the work and all it takes. They just see people at the end goal, but they don't see the people in the beginning and all the things that they had to go through to get to the place you're like, especially like where you at, the place that you're at. You making bukus, I'm gonna say bukus of money. You making bukus of money, and I mean, you
I'll
look like
accept
it,
that.
you got bukus of money,
I
peeking
want to
back.
make more, but I'll accept it. Listen, I'll accept
Hey, all is more. And so I feel like with the generation, my generation and the generation after me, like we don't have that work ethic to put in the work to get to where we want to get to. We just think it's just supposed to happen. Because again, don't get me wrong, now you can go viral on one post, just off of one post, but that doesn't mean you're going to consistently go viral every single time you post. And I feel like a lot of us just want that one post and we think we good, and it takes more than that. So like with your program, um when you first get someone, do you want them to know already what they're doing, or do you help them to figure out what avenue or path that they should go on?
It depends on what program they're in. So since we've expanded, we work with people first if they have an idea, they want to start from scratch and they want to turn it into an online course or coaching program. We extract their ideas because I really want to operate. I want people to operate in their gifts.
Mm,
Operating in your gifting and in your talent makes it so much easier. You don't have to be anybody else. You don't got to look at what everybody else is doing in the marketplace, because when you operate as the best version of you, it just makes life easier. So that's
very
the first place that I like to start. And then we have some people who are more established, because as I've been doing this internet situation for almost for 9 years, going into year 10 next year, people pay attention. And what I didn't realize was that people who are like, they've made multiple millions, eight figures. And I'm like, you want Shadeh from Jersey? What can I provide? Right. And they see value in my consistency. And
wow.
they see like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're doing these sequences, you're hosting these events, you're doing these things, and we want to do some of that too. Can you support us in our vision? And then they'll bring you onto their team. And then you get to see what a multiple seven figure business and beyond looks like. And what you realize, right, when you pull back the curtain, is that they're just like us too. They're trying to figure it out.
Mm, mm,
They figured it out and been profitable, but everything that they've tried, everything they've done has not been successful. But the key is they keep on going. They hire experts, they get support, and they keep on going. And faith is definitely a huge piece of a lot of people that I work with, the seven-figure business people. Faith is a huge component of it, because when we make mistakes, it might be $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 mistake, and that still hurt my feelings. But
very
when
true.
they make mistakes, we're talking about 10,000, 20,000, $100,000 mistakes. So some of us want things, and we're not willing to make the $1,000 mistake to get to the $100,000 mistake. So
Mm,
we one of my mentors, Marshawn Evans Daniels, has like a prayer devotional, and one of the things that it says was like praying for capacity. Day 35. I just happened to remember today, and I randomly opened to it. And you're asking for more. You're asking for increase. You want more viewership. You want more of this. You want more money. But if you're asking for that, God is going to send you opportunities to build your capacity,
very true.
lessons, assignments,
Very true.
challenges to build your capacity, so that when you get to those millions of views, you already know how to handle it. Because there's people that get those views, that get the money, and then they lose it, or they don't know how to monetize it when they get it. There's no systems in place. How are we collecting information? How are we staying connected to our target market? So there's going to be, when you ask for more, there's going to be things that come into your life that build your capacity. So I'm asking for more. I know we're moving into millions. I'm going through the changes and the processes. I'm ready to receive it. I'm opening up my heart, my capacity, my mind, and my soul for bigger opportunities that I wasn't ready for 2 years ago
Mhm.
or 5 years ago when I started. I'm like, yeah, I'm shooting all the shots. I call this ambitious August. So I'm like, yeah, we shooting all the shots. The
That's
answer for most things, if it can fit in my schedule, is yes, I'm doing it. Because I know that these are capacity building exercises that are preparing me and catapulting me to my next level of success. So for anyone who's you ask for more, expect more and the most to happen in your life. Okay. These are just signs and opportunities for you to build your capacity. So when you receive the thing that you truly desire, number one, you can appreciate it. And number two, you'll be ready for it. So you know exactly what to do with it. Because we got to be good stewards of the things we ask for.
mhm. And that makes so much sense. That ambitious August, that make because I'm the same way. Like for this month, like everybody that want to be a guest that aligns up with my podcast. Yes, I'll be a guest. I'll be a guest on your podcast. And when you start your podcast show, I'll come and be a guest on yours too.
Okay, I've been told they've been pressuring me. I guess it's got to happen.
So yeah, and you said one thing about like mentorship. I know I
Mhm.
went on your website and I looked on it, and you said you weren't able to listen to other people, other things, other programs that you might have checked into or anything that you had to find your own way. Could you expound a little bit on that?
So I've always been a proponent of mentorship. My mentors who encouraged me to get into politics as a kid and join organizations. I've always been a proponent. That's just been a common thread throughout my entire life. So when I went into business, I'm a smart kid. Like I have this PhD. I've been in all these different types of schooling experiences. When you don't know something, you go, if you don't know chemistry, you go to the chemist. If you have a problem with math homework, you go to your math teacher or your science teacher for science. So I knew if I didn't know how to do business, I need to find some business people who know how to do what I desire to do. Because one thing we don't have, everything else is renewable. If I lose money, I'll make money again. Money is a renewable resource. What's
Very.
not a renewable resource is time. I
Mm,
don't get this moment back in life again. So, in exchange for time, I want to exchange money to get to the pathway faster because ain't nobody got time to waste or wait because we have a short moment for what we're doing to work.
mm,
Being at that podcast summit, they're like, there's going to be millions of podcasts in the next 2 or 3 years. Like, we got a moment right now,
very
and
true.
we need to maximize that moment. So I need mentorship, guidance that is right for the moment of life I'm in so that I can catapult it and make the most sense out of this time. So we just left, like, just understanding markets and economies and how the world and money works. We just got out of this pandemic where there was a huge flow of cash, an influx of cash from the government. And then we are in a contraction of that cash flow, also known as this recession. But if you don't understand history, economics, you wouldn't realize, like, okay, yeah, people are pulling back, but there are still people making millions. There are
Very true.
still business owners that are thriving and doing amazing work. What are they doing? Let's
Mm,
pay attention to what's working in this marketplace and work it so that when this season is over, because these cycles are cyclical, it will end and we will have a harvest again, that we are properly positioned for harvest season to come back. Money
mm,
just flows somewhere else. So part of the season is to figure out where your money is flowing so that you can be in that place so that you can be successful and survive during this season so that when it's thrive season, you're ready to go. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it.
very true.
So that's important to have mentors that say, okay, this is normal. Mentors that experienced the housing crash in 2008. I was still like a kid, a teenager. So, it wasn't the same experience for me.
Very true.
Having mentors who've been in business for 30 years that can tell you the cycles of business, like this is normal, this is what happens, that can prepare you for the next season and understanding companies like Airbnb, Uber. There's other companies, I think GE too. There's a list. Thrived during recessions because what everybody else is doing, they're like closing up shop. They're not
Mm,
marketing as much. They're
very,
hiding. They're like, they're hibernating. But this is an opportunity for you, as people got out of the marketplace, they closed down their podcast, they closed down what they were doing. It's an opportunity for you to thrive. So
mm,
I just chose differently. I said, this is not a recession for me. I'm choosing to thrive. I'm choosing to go where my money is, and I'm choosing to still be on a pathway to make more. Because when I make more, I'm able to support other people. I'm able to give back. Like we did my birthday was in July, so we do give backs, sending donations to different nonprofit organizations, because when good people have more, we do good work in the world. So I
mm.
just choose to have a different story for my life. And I have faith, sight unseen. I got to believe what I don't see, and believe that it's going to be for me, because it is for me. So, while people are experiencing a recession, it's not a recession for me because God told me something different.
Very true. And that's one thing I don't get when it comes to people of faith. Like, we are not what the world is. So whatever the world says, we don't go by what the world says. We go by what God says. And I see so many people of faith that go by what the world says. And I'm like, do you not read your word? Or did you miss that scripture? Because at the end of the day, he already gave us the promise that we're going to live abundantly and more. So it's like, why are you paying attention to what the world says? Like you said, you got to have the faith to go get it, the faith to see it, and the faith to put in the work to do it. Because we all know faith without works is dead.
You know what it is also? I had to go on a journey. Like, this is the person you're talking to now. If you would have spoke to me 6 months ago, would not have had these same things to say. I had to go when I was in Kazakhstan, before I went to Kazakhstan, before I went to college, and even before starting this business. I had to go on a journey, a personal growth journey, to build my new capacity for what was coming next. In
Mm,
this season, I remember for Lent, for 40 days, I was like, Lord, you really got to give me a sign. What's going on? I need to break through. I'm frustrated. I'm agitated. Like, what is happening? I need to see something different. And I was really asking, like, please talk to me. Give me some clarity, direction, signs, something. So I really was asking, like, what's my next assignment? I feel
mm,
like there's a transition as I go into this 10th year of business. What's the new assignment? What am I supposed to be doing? And as I got this new assignment, I'm like, oh, okay. Some new capacity had to happen. I had to take some new actions. Like I'm naturally an introvert. And even at the podcast summit, there was someone I said, I need to talk to them. And I was like, all right, if I see them again, I'm going to talk to them. As soon as I came in the door, that was the first person I saw. I was like, okay, I guess I got to talk to this person. Like just being bolder to ask for more, asking people to open up doors for me. I put a lot of goodwill in the marketplace, and now it's time for me to collect payment. Don't come back and say, you know what, I need help, I need support. This is my vision. Can you help with this vision? And understanding that people are assigned to help me and
mm.
be if I want to get to this new goal, people are attached to this assignment because it's so big and so huge. And I just have to be okay with asking for it. This is not a mission that I'm supposed to do by myself. This is not, I'm not going on this journey alone. There are people assigned to help me and support me. So um it's not easy, but I had to listen. And also I had to go to therapy too because I had to heal my heart. I had to heal childhood traumas,
Telling you,
heartbreak. Listen, life is life, and while you're going through this process, don't think that life is not life is just cherries and strawberries.
I
It
will.
is a challenge. So I needed to also get help, mental health help to handle this load of my calling, of my family, of my life. So it's a mixture of things. You got to have faith, you got to support your mental health. You need to exercise, take your vitamins. It's a holistic approach to life because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I realize as I'm expanding my capacity in this season, I have to be cognizant of all the areas of my life. Because
Mm,
if I'm going to be, let's say I want to make millions and I'm unhealthy, how am I going to enjoy my millions?
very true.
If I want to be an older parent, I'm single, I don't have any children, how am I going to do that if I don't have the energy, or if I don't create a business model that allows me to date or allows me to spend time with children? So it's for me, it's a holistic approach to living a better life. If I want to become a better entrepreneur, I had to first start with becoming a better person. So it's a holistic approach to business and life for me.
That's good, and I'm glad you shared that because I feel like that's the place I'm in right now. Like going on this journey, asking God to like, what am I doing next? Because I just had a job let me go for no
Mm,
apparent reason at all. So I feel like this is the push out that God is sending to me. Like, hey, this is what you need to be doing. So like all the things that you said, I'm back in therapy, back seeking him, trying to get my mental right, exercising, get my body right because I don't know what he has in store for me. I just know
mhm.
I'm trusting him and every step that he's telling me to do, I'm doing it. So that's good because a lot of times people don't want to sit down and actually take a look at themselves and put the mirror in front of their face and just be like, this is who you are, these are the things you got to deal with. And one thing one of my mentors always said, when you talk about the childhood trauma, he's like, your childhood trauma always become your adulthood drama.
Mm,
So like if you don't deal with it, it's always gonna come up. So that's good. The last thing I want to talk about before we get off is your brand trifecta. I like
mhm.
I listened to it a little bit. I ain't get all of it, but your brand trifecta, because after this, I'm probably gonna be giving you a call to help me with my brand because my brand needs help. I don't know like the next steps to go to or the next steps to do. So be me and my wife both, because we got a story that we want to help other people when in marriages, the story that we had in our marriage early on. So we want to brand that. My wife got a whole bunch of stuff she needs to get done. and I need to be on her head. Like,
Let's get this done. Let's
but
make this happen.
but if you could talk about your brand trifecta, what does that actually mean?
I love it. So this is applicable to multiple brands, and I love it. Let's definitely have that conversation. The first thing is you. The trifecta starts with you. Who are you? Who are you? What do you like? Don't you like? What is your calling? What is your gift? What are your talents?
Mm,
When I talk about branding, it's definitely a holistic approach. This, I tell, business is one of those most stressful personal development experiences. You got to really be okay with who you are. When you tap into that CEO role, you got to be okay with saying this is what it is and this is what it's not. Um,
mm,
and because I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs, it's harder for them to step into that role, but we got to be okay with being us. And a lot of times, going back to those childhood traumas, there are things that you were told about yourself that were not good. Like, oh, you're not smart, or you're too short, you're too this. We always were told about our flaws. But in a
mm,
space like this, those things that people told you were a flaw are actually your assets. They're the things that are going to make you stand out. So I always tell people, go on a journey of you. Do the things that are going to make you better. That goes back to therapy. That goes back to getting healthier. It goes back to reading books, audio books, going to live events and programs, learning, having a higher level competency so that you can be a master at your expertise. The
mm.
next piece is getting crystal clear about your target market. I had this conversation for 30 minutes last night with clients. We're doing like some late night boot camps. And um she's starting out her brand, and one of the things she's unclear about niching down, and should she niche down because she wants to do all the things. I say, listen, I do all the things, but that doesn't mean I do all the things well. And I said, that doesn't mean all the things are profitable. I said, listen to me. Don't do what I do what I say in this case. And the fastest pathway to your cash is to get clear about who your target market is and who
Mm,
your target market is not.
very
Serve them specifically, serve them unapologetically, call them out, say their name, their pain points, their challenges, their ailments. It will make your life easier. It will make your marketing easier. It will make the partnerships that you need to partner with so much easier when you get clear about who you want to talk to. Now,
mm,
people don't want to listen to me, but the ones that do, crush it. And I give them some case studies and some examples. One example that I love to use is one of my pals. His name is Dr. Dreyon Birch, also known as Dr. Dre, but he's a real doctor, medical doctor. And he teaches branding, but he teaches it to fellow medical doctors. He teaches them how to use their medical degrees to get on TV so they can be on, like, be the next Dr. Oz, or be on the doctor so they can get media and build
oh,
a brand. They can build products and courses and trainings. We essentially do the same thing, but his niche is medical doctors. And one of the clients we had on last night was a medical doctor. She's like, I know him. And I did go with him, and he has classes and he understands me as a medical doctor and what I'm going through. And I was like, case in point. I I just you explained exactly why it's so important to niche. Our audiences are greedy, they're selfish, they just want what they want. And we
mm,
are the same way too. So I use another real life example. My mother had a heart problem, and I don't want a general specialist. I need a cardiologist. I need somebody who knows how to help with heart problems,
very true.
because that's my mama. So if we are careful about who we have, the doctors and specialists that we need for specific elements with our own bodies. Why do we think our target market is not specific when they have a specific challenge or element? They go to specific places. They
Mm,
want to be able to compartmentalize you into a box. Even if you don't want to be in a box, they need to be able to mentally put you in a box. Okay, so this person helps doctors. This person creates courses. This person helps you with build a podcast. Okay, I understand that, because we're being inundated with marketing messages and information every single day. You got to make life easier for your target market. So when you call them out and say, I work with this type of person who has this issue, this is their background, this is who they are, it makes it so much easier for them to literally raise their hand and say, I am that person. So we want to get clear about who you are, get clear about your target market. And now that you're clear about who you are in your target market, now you need to create what I call a Big Mac offer. So McDonald's has their signature dish, their signature burger is called a Big Mac.
Don't eat that though. It's nasty. Don't eat
Listen,
it.
I use this analogy and I tell people I'm not responsible if you went to McDonald's. I don't even eat McDonald's. I
No.
might get ice cream, but that's it. And you know
Yeah.
the ice cream machine is not working half the time, so that means I'm not getting ice cream either.
Very
So
true.
they are consistent. That's a part of their brand. That's literally a part of their brand story.
Very
Uh,
true.
so the Big Mac, M stands for magnetic. Your offer, your product, your coaching, your live event, your retreat, whatever it is, needs to be magnetic. It needs to actively attract people who are interested. A is aid. It needs to help them. It needs to be the solution to their problem. It needs to aid them and assist them in getting to the desired goal. And C is very important. It's called convert. It needs to convert into cash, community, connections, all the C's. If it is not a C, it's a big Ma. And McDonald's does not sell big Ma's. They don't sell big M's. Some of you are like, oh, it's a big Ma. It's magnetic. It helps them, but nobody bought it. It didn't convert. It's not a Big Mac. So our offer has to be magnetic, help people, and convert, or it is not a good offer.
Very
Or maybe you need to choose the audience, change the audience. There could be some challenges with your offer, but once somebody who is not your cousin, your family, has purchased your offer, whatever it is, then that is giving you an indication that there may be other people out there just like them that will also be interested in purchasing your programs, products, and services. So you want to just get clear. That's a powerful brand trifecta, because there's people who think their brand is just their logo or their website or
Mhm.
slogan, colors. It's bigger than that. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that we provide for people. It's a messaging, it's languaging, it's an experience that we are creating. And that experience needs to lead to profitable transactions and powerful transformations.
Mhm.
Transactions and transformations. If it is not all of the above, it's not the brand trifecta, and you're going to be leaving money on the table. And ultimately, as you're building your brand, I don't want you to leave money on the table.
Now that's good. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited. Like I want to join the program today. But last question for people, because I know right now with the economy and everything, a lot of people don't want to spend the money on the program. So what do you say to people that might see your price or even anybody else's price and be like, that's too much?
So, part of me, I have another like formula for people who are your ideal clients. So these are a couple of things you got to take into consideration. There are people who still spend money. There are people who are extremely successful, who make millions and billions, that spend money every single day. They don't think about it. Whatever your price point is, it's a drop in a bucket to them.
Mm,
That's number one. If you have a higher ticket product, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, $50,000, one thing you can do is find the people who have the money today who are willing to pay you today. Period. There's always people that got money. So that's one thing. Because I have people who've invested $20,000, $30,000 to work with me in this economy.
mm,
Um, so that's one thing. Find the people who have your money. The other thing is we can absolutely look in and take into consideration what is happening in the economy. I'm not telling you to be blind to what's happening. So for opportunities to pivot, look for opportunities for other offers. Like, what are people actually wanting to pay for? And create something that is in your wheelhouse that they're willing to create, that they are willing to pay for. So some of the ways for us around this is we partner with financing companies so that people can have extended payment plans. So my payment plan might be $500 to $1,000 plus a month, but the company might be able to give you a $200 a month, $100 a month payment plan. So providing people with alternatives, and letting people understand that if they're investing in their business specifically, that there are other ways, like other people use other people's money. It's okay. It's not the same thing as buying a Birkin bag, on your credit card or whatever the case is. This is an investment in you. And you are absolutely your 100% best investment. So
mm.
allowing people to pay over time, extended payment plans, partnering with other companies that allow payment plan options so that you can get paid up front, and going to people who got your money now, your now money now. You can also have a lower cost. product line as well. So we have things that are, sometimes we sell stuff for, I would say, $7 or $35 or whatever the case is, to $35,000. There's a range. So I
True.
always tell people, get in where you fit in. If your investment today is $35, but you can leverage that, whatever you learned, and you implement it and you take full action, you might be my $35,000 client tomorrow. So
Mm,
I tell people to honor the journey that you're in right now and make the investments at the level that you see fit. But if you know it's time to make a higher level investment, make a higher level investment and bet on you. But if it's uncomfortable, if you're scared, or you just want to get your feet wet, we do have those options. But also with those options, it doesn't mean you get access to my time. You know, when we have the lower tier product line, it doesn't have, you can't message me every day, text message me, email me, all this other stuff, because there's capacity and there are boundaries in the different price points you're at. But if it's one of my clients that have paid the higher tier, yeah, they message me all the time. They probably didn't message me while we're here, because they have more access,
very true.
because they've invested in that, right? So that's what I would say. Like, you can absolutely have higher tier products. Eventually, my goal is to sell something for $100,000 and have somebody buy it, and I know it's going to happen soon. Um, but everybody's not the $100,000 buyer. But it doesn't negate the fact that I should still sell something for $100,000. Just because you might not want to buy it, this person might not want to buy it, that's cool. It
I'm about
doesn't mean that it's not right for the person who does. And that's so important, that we don't want to deter those people, because they are still in this market. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for, how can we make our life easier? How can we bring on a new client? How can we do different things? They have different problems. And I think a lot of people, especially if we're talking about people of faith, you want to help everybody, but helping everybody doesn't mean giving away for free. Helping
you got
everybody doesn't mean that you're helping people. You are naturally choosing a target market that cannot afford you. Like,
mm,
you got bills to pay. Chase, American Express, Discover, whoever it is, they want their payments.
and they
So
don't
we
care.
have to be fiscally responsible in our businesses. So, people automatically want to choose an audience that they think doesn't have money. But there are affluent people that will pay you today. So have a balance,
Very,
and allow sometimes the bigger tier clients to help you support the work that you're doing in the world. You got to decide, is this a business or a nonprofit organization? And even if it's a nonprofit, you still need to make money.
very true. Very true. So lastly, let the people know how they can get in contact with you, social media, all that type of stuff.
Yes. So you can go to Hey Dr. Shade, Hey Dr. Shade, spell like SH, like Shade, because that's how my parents named me. And you can find me at workwithshade.com, workwithshade or Shadeh.com. Let me know that you found me here. And let's get connected. I'm on all the grams, Instagram, Facebook. Guess I'm still on X and on this Twitter, Threads, TikTok. We're on all the things. So you can find me there at Hey Dr. Shade. And I would love to connect with you, and let me know you found me here.
Hey, that's right. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for
This
having
was
me.
this was a lot of information. I hope y'all take it. It was a great conversation. Again, I just ask that you like, tag, and share. Subscribe to the channel. Comment in the comments below the things that you liked about the show, the things that you didn't like about the show. And again, if you still didn't get what she said about her contact information, please comment and we'll be able to get that to us so y'all can be able to connect. Again, remember, faith pushes you to your destiny and fear holds you in bondage. Y'all have a wonderful day.